a total of 3 last year. They have 6 first-year players, 7 sophomores, bringing back a total of 3 starters plus their libero. But a lot of question marks, especially at that setter position where it appears to be Kiera McNulty's job, at least for the time being. The 5'10 first-year player replacing Taylor Tashima, who was the starting setter since her freshman year of 2014 and leaves Northwestern. Left the Wildcat program last season, number 4 all-time with over 4,211 career assists. Now for the Wildcats, their head coach, Shane Davis, he is back for his 3rd year as the 6th head coach in program history. Well, for the Wildcats, about to embark on their 43rd season, trying to figure some things out. They have a class here at 2022 that ranked 18th best by prepvolleyball.com, hoping that some of that youth obviously going to go through some growing pains early on, but can figure some things out in time as they try to snap a stretch that has seen them record now 3 consecutive losing seasons. They've not had a winning season since going 16-15 back in 2014. And for the Coyotes, about to embark on their 45th season. They've been a Division I program since 2009. Sarah Johnson sporting the libero jersey for the Wildcats. You see McNulty mentioned taking over the setting responsibility. She sports jersey number 8. Brianna Cannon also in your picture sporting jersey number 2. She is one of the outside hitters, but she too, like so many on this roster, a first-year collegiate talent. Set 1 of the best of 5 underway here in Milwaukee. Madison Jurgens on the setter for South Dakota early on. In front, trying to come through the block, he had Nia Robinson, but the point goes to the Coyotes. For South Dakota, they bring back Haley Dotseth, a 5'11 senior outside hitter. Elizabeth Lotion, a junior outside hitter, among those expecting to have a big impact on the Coyotes attack. Lauren Sauer on the Coyotes serve. On the first touch by Johnson. The set goes over to Robinson. And a long scramble for Rasmussen, who's sporting the libero jersey for South Dakota. And so the Wildcats able to record the side out. We have McNulty connecting with Nia Robinson. It's Robinson's turn to serve. Back after being named to the Big Ten All-Freshman team last fall, the first Wildcat to receive those accolades since 2011. Jurgens on this right side with Lotion. And for Northwestern over the block. Rasmussen. Out of that back with Johnson on the dig. Swatted over by Olivia Viscuso, the junior middle blocker. Viscuso out of Arlington, Texas. Her father, a collegiate wrestler at Virginia. And she's giving the Wildcats a 2-1 lead back-to-back Northwestern points. See Dotseth on that left side. This is Cannon. Off the set by Jurgens. Right back with Dotseth. And the point for Northwestern. Haley Dotseth, you know, we talk about youth. It's a younger team. When you factor the Coyotes have brought in 7 newcomers on a roster of 15, but Dotseth, one of the 4 seniors, probably the most experienced on this South Dakota roster. That was Grathoff on the tip in front for South Dakota. Jurgens. See the setter coming through with the return. That caught the Wildcats by surprise, and screeching across the floor did McNulty, coming out and coming off just short. Making the play for Northwestern. And a streak of 3 straight for the Wildcats in the serve here for the Coyotes. And Anna Rasmussen. All kinds of friends and family will be here throughout this weekend for Rasmussen. He's from Oak Creek, Wisconsin, although went to Wisconsin Lutheran High School. 4 hits here against Northwestern. Tied at 3 here in set 1. Just starting away, the season openers for both. First of 3 over the next 2 days for both of these programs here at the Panther Invitational. McNulty on the connection and getting Ella Gerbach involved. Gerbach, a 6'3" first-year collegiate player from Cleveland, Ohio. Outside hitter, opposite hitter. In high school, middle hitter. Her freshman and through junior seasons before she moved to the outside. her senior campaign. The swap by Taylor Wilson. Played for Cannon. Juergens over the middle with Wilson. Trying to keep it alive, unable to do so. Alana Walker in the lineup now for Northwestern. And we will see both of these teams make a series of changes. Again, the Wildcats want to figure some things out. A team that brought back, as mentioned, 3 starters plus their libero, but they bring in a total of 6 newcomers to gel with the 11 returnees. Still young though, still a youth movement for Northwestern as the Coyotes take a 5-4 lead. Ball in the hands of Mejana Fonseca, the 5'5" junior defensive specialist from Aurora, Colorado. Tough first touch there for Allie Lindroth, but a recovery made and helped over by Cannon. That ball's gonna sneak out. And the point goes to the Wildcats. Trying to go cross court, but a little bit long on the return. And Northwestern will sub in Michelle Lee, first-year player from Naperville, Illinois. And the Wildcats, instead of listing players as freshmen, in some cases, just first year as far as eligibility goes. Cannon. There's Wilson in front. And along with Juergens on that setup. Juergens, a 5'9" setter, finding Dotseth, and she goes long. A nice 1-2 combo in front with Dotseth and Juergens, providing a little bit of an issue for the Wildcats on this near side, but then they went far side to the Coyotes and tried to get Dotseth involved, but she went long with her return. Juergens, net violation here that's going to go against South Dakota. So the Wildcats on a mini run. In doing so, have taken a 7-5 lead. They've scored the last 3. Lee, off that jump serve, and a tough touch there by Rasmussen. And you see the pinball effect, and a 4-hit violation against the Coyotes. To make it 4 consecutive now for Northwestern. Up 8-4 in this first ever meeting between the Coyotes and the Wildcats. Juergens, Dotseth, that was over the head of Walker, along with McNulty in front for Northwestern. Cannon, and off of Lauren Sauer. See Rasmussen trying to bust through that team line, looking to run it down, unable to do so. They get 5 straight now for Northwestern. They lead 9-5 here in set 1. Michelle Lee. Talk about a great first stint for Lee. Dotseth. And Haley Dotseth again going long. 6 unanswered for Northwestern as the Coyotes trying to get Haley Dotseth involved. She was number 1 in the team last year at 3.49 kills per set. Juergens coming across to Wilson. Walker. Juergens. Dotseth over the block. As Walker got a piece, as did McNulty. Cannon out of that back row. Rasmussen. Dotseth. McNulty finding Cannon. Dug out by Rasmussen. Set up by Juergens. Dotseth splits a pair in the back. Lindroth, Johnson to that back row for the Wildcats, ends a 6-0 run for Northwestern. You see Jenna Wagenmester subbing into the South Dakota lineup, replacing Sauer. Dotseth. Going across for Cannon. The Wildcats get the side out that was off of Haley Dotseth. Give the assist to Kiara McNulty. Robinson back into the Northwestern lineup as Brianna Cannon will serve. A prep volleyball All-American was Cannon. Her high school winning state championships in 2016 and again in 2017 in Canada. A big reason why she was a first-team All-State selection in both those championship seasons. Taylor Wilson, the middle blocker out of Indiana, with a service error. Wildcats maintain a 5-point advantage. Northwestern will bring Viscuso back in. Here is Sarah Johnson. And she's the libero. You go back a couple of years ago and she transitioned into the starting libero role about mid-season. Hasn't looked back. Leaning. That was Wagameister, but now it's going to be Robinson. And running out of real estate to Madison Jurgens. Jurgens, a redshirt in 2017. Timeout here for the Coyotes. Northwestern has taken a 13-7 lead here in set number 1. We continue here in this first set of the 20th running of the Panther Invitational. Four ties and 3 lead changes early on in this first matchup of the 20th running of the Panther Invitational in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 13-7 Northwestern over South Dakota. Mentioned all the ties and lead changes, but the Wildcats able to create that separation at one point thanks to a 6-0 run. And so the Coyotes forced to take one of their 2 allotted timeouts. Sarah Johnson on the jump serve for Northwestern. Jurgens. Put a tip it in front, it flew over the reach. Grathoff off the attacking error. It's the 6th error early on against South Dakota compared to the 2 for Northwestern. But Sarah Johnson, the junior from Pasadena, California. Sister Natalie played volleyball at Notre Dame. Dad went to graduate school at Northwestern. Johnson, before that can happen, a net violation is going to be whistled here against Northwestern. And South Dakota will sub Elizabeth Lotion back in. Scored the first point of the season for South Dakota. Lotion, a 6'2" junior out of Omaha, Nebraska. Her high school state champs both her sophomore and junior year. Robinson right into the block. It's the second of the match now for South Dakota. Grathoff among the 2 there for the Coyotes. 14-9 Northwestern. Grathoff getting some help from Lotion on that rejection. McNulty to Robinson. This time able to sneak it through the block. That was set up again by Lotion and Grathoff. That's where more often than not the bread's been buttered for Northwestern over the last couple of years has been Nia Robinson, again back for her 2nd collegiate season. And she'll take on a much bigger role now with Simone Abbott. Lost to graduation. She was the top kill getter last year. A solid 4 kills per set, now playing pro volleyball in Italy. Abbott, a first-team All-Big Ten selection, the first for the Wildcats since 2013. Northwestern now leads 16-9. McNulty. Jurgens. On that left side, you have Wagameister, but it's going to be Robinson blocked again with Grathoff and Lotion. For the Coyotes, see in the background, there's Coach Leanne Williamson, 10th head coach in the program's history, 5th season now at the helm. The set served by Lauren Sauer back into the South Dakota lineup. Robinson now on the right side. Johnson over with Gerbach. Jurgens. Dotseth. Tipped, and Johnson will dig enough of it to find Gerbach. Robinson in the windup. And now Jurgens flying in. It was lofted over by Elizabeth Loshin, the Summit League Freshman of the Year back in 2016. For the all-freshman team, came on strong, had 252 kills that year, most for a freshman in the Summit League in 2016. Came back last year and ended up finishing number 4 in the team at 1.91 kills per set. Gerback enhancing the Wildcat lead back to 6. 17-11 here in this first set. Nia Robinson. Jurgens. Dotseth. Robinson, Johnson, Cannon. There's a size in front with Loshin. Grathoff helping out. That was a question mark coming in, though, for Coach Williamson's team, was that front row play, the blocking ability after the Coyotes. They lost 3 out of their top 4 blockers from last year. A team that averaged 1.5 blocks per set. McNulty. Rasmussen on back to Johnson. McNulty down the middle. That was Viscuso. Jurgens. Dotseth. Dug out by Lindroth. And coming across for Gerback. Back to 6 goes the Wildcat lead. See the Wildcat front row that will now include Walker rotating back in. Walker has been known to excel in these type of tournaments. Last year into the all-tournament team when Northwestern was involved in the DePaul Invitational, but also in the VCU Invitational. Cannon. After you had Wilson and Loshin trying to provide the obstacle in front for South Dakota, taking their second and final timeout in this first set. But you talk about the blocking ability for the Coyotes, and right now trying to come up big. You have the combination of Elizabeth Loshin, who was number 2 on the team in blocks. She is the top returning in that area. But then you throw in Grathoff, who is playing her first collegiate match, a redshirt last year. The 6'3" middle blocker out of Michigan, a 4-year starter in her high school days. Early on, blocks were at 4-1 Coyotes. You see Northwestern, they've gotten some great contributions already from a number of different sources. Cannon, Gerback, Robinson all have 3 kills apiece, followed by Viscuso with 1. But the big area right now is the hitting percentage at 161. They have not committed a ton of errors early on. South Dakota at negative .034 for hitting percentage in their first set of the season. Northwestern last year, this team had an attack percentage of 247. That's a program best. Again, a program that dates back to 1976. 538 hitting errors, the lowest in team history. So perhaps some early season jitters. The excitement of a brand new season. The NCAA allowing now exhibition play in women's college volleyball. And so in some cases, the teams that are opening up their seasons here this weekend got an opportunity to maybe get a tune-up outside of a inter-squad scrimmage last weekend. But still, especially among some of the teams that are here this weekend in Milwaukee, a lot of newness to the rosters and some new roles. A number of new setters will be on display here at the Panther Invitational. Jurgens trying to set up Loshin, but she was blocked. Second block of the set for Northwestern. Out of the South Dakota timeout. 20-12, Wildcats the block for Cannon and Walker. Guided by Wilson. There's the Coyotes block again coming into play. Cannon on back with Rasmussen, but we have a net violation here that's going to go against the Coyotes. Northwestern, again early on, we had a number of ties and leeches as you expect, with teams trying to create that separation early, but it was a 6-0 run early. They made it 10-4 Northwestern, and they haven't looked back. That's been your difference maker as Loshin gets the side out. Back back in. Sarah Johnson for Northwestern. Lotion getting a breather here for the Coyotes. Coyotes bringing back 8 letter winners and 4 starters. Also getting a number of players back that were limited or injured or redshirted for one reason or another last year. Cannon. Back-to-back now for the Coyotes. So when we talk about South Dakota being a younger team, despite the fact they have 8 upperclassmen on a 15-player roster, still have a number of players that maybe it's been a couple years. They saw collegiate experience or saw the court in game action. Rasmussen, great hustle by Sauer, but will come up short. Sauer, one of those players, a red shirt in 2017, is back after she was first on the team and 3rd in the Summit League in 2016 in digs. Nice addition to have back in that lineup. Dotseth, another attacking error there. We have not seen Kenzie Hess yet for the Coyotes. A redshirt last year, she was injured. Madison Juergens was a redshirt last year. He was on the team, but having to watch from the sideline. Grathoff, who also has played a factor in that front row, was a redshirt. And then you also throw in a Rachel Swider, we haven't talked about yet. She was number 2 on the team in kills last year, but limited by injury. Wagemester back in for the Coyotes. They're down 23-15. A service ace. And Dotseth with that service ace. Number 3 on the team last year with a total of 25 during the course of the 28-match season. Across for Cannon. That was Juergens. Cannon. Juergens over for Wagemester. Dug out. Boy, nice dive by Michelle Lee on the Northwestern return, and then a long return there for South Dakota will give the Wildcats the opportunity to end this first set. Up 24-16. Michelle Lee had a great first stint beyond that service line too, which helped also create this separation. Cannon. Juergens. Slammed down by Taylor Wilson. But as Wilson goes long, the Wildcats take the set. 25-16. Northwestern up 1-0 over the South Dakota Coyotes. Set 2 comes your way next as we continue in Milwaukee with the Panther Invitational on the Black and Gold Network. set one of match one of the 20th running of the Panther Invitational goes the route of Northwestern over South Dakota, 25-16. 4 ties and 3 lead changes early on, but the Wildcats were able to pull away with a 6-0 run and really never looking back in a first set that would see them hit 128. South Dakota negative 103. For the Wildcats, they got 4 kills from Cannon, 4 for Gerback, 3 for Robinson. Among the 4 with kills for Northwestern, McNulty in her first set as the team setter at 11 assists. Also a total of 6 digs for Sarah Johnson, and then a couple of blocks. For South Dakota, they were paced by Lotions, 3 kills, 2 for Dotseth. 6 attacking errors, though, in that first set. Juergens with 6 assists, taking over the setter role this year. 6 digs recorded for Lauren Sauer. A total of 4 team blocks as well. Kind of confusing when you look at the stat sheet. It still says Lauren Madison, but it is Lauren Sauer now. She was married on July 20th. And for South Dakota. Off Rasmussen. And Northwestern off to a 1-0 lead here in this second set. And a total of 12 kills for the Wildcats as a whole. Robinson, Indiana Gatorade Player of the Year, Indiana Volleyball Player of the Year. Their prep days from Indy. Make it 2-0. No return after Dotseth with the first South Dakota touch. Nia Robinson. Mentioned she's had a great start already to her collegiate career and has set the bar awfully high after a fine first year. Her debut against South Florida, she had a total of 20 kills. Never looked back last year. Dotseth. And Johnson coming across into the block. Grathoff, Wagamester. Block number 5 now for the Coyotes. They're down 2-1. Now for South Dakota, it is Lauren Sauer, Eden Prairie, Minnesota. And front little tip. Grathoff lifts at 6'3". Great side of that front row for South Dakota. Front into the back did Lotion. On the set by Juergens. Dotseth. This time the sides of Gerback coming into play. Gerback in front, making sure it stayed on the Coyotes end along with Viscuso. That's a 1-2 combo at 6'3" and 6 foot. Viscuso working away into the lineup here after playing in 10 matchups last year. Came off the bench, a reserve role in 2016. Coyotes will sub Wilson back in. You see high fives for Grathoff. Nice start so far for her after that first set. 3 block assists. That front row for Grathoff. Cannon. Again, the block coming into play. Lotion. Help from Wilson. Taylor Wilson. Actually in her first year with South Dakota. At Stony Brook, both in 2015 and 16. Rasmussen. Dotseth. Long run there for McNulty. She makes it, but kind of a double hit here against Northwestern. Now Rasmussen with South Dakota up 4-3. McNulty. That's Cannon with the kill for the Wildcats. See Michelle Lee getting ready to rotate in, replacing Gerback. Gerback, the versatile attacker with an explosive arm. That's been on display already in her first go-around. And with Lee, we've already seen her ability beyond that service line. Help create that, again, that separation, that first set that eventually put things in the Wildcat win column. Cannon going cross court with Rasmussen. Jurgens staying on that right side with Lotion. Cannon. Rasmussen off the set. Return made. Madison Jurgens. That's worked a couple of times so far for the Coyotes, getting the setter involved in the attack. Fonseca back in replacing Lotion. Fonseca back on that first touch by Johnson. Cannon. That works for the Wildcats. As Sauer going head over heels in that back row. Early on here in this second set, 3 ties and 1 lead change. We're even up at 5 apiece. Wildcats taking the first set, 25-16. Jurgens to the back pedal. Dotseth. Walker in front for Northwestern. Walker's been involved in a couple of the Wildcat blocks. Last year played in 32 matches. On the attack, hit a very high percentage. When it came to the blocking ability, came up big many times for the Wildcats, including what was a 6-block performance in a 5-set win over Michigan at one point on the 10th of November. South Dakota brings Wagamester in. Haley Dotseth. Here tied at 6. McNulty over for Robinson. Played by Rasmussen. Dotseth out of the back. First touch comes from McNulty. Lee will set up Robinson. Robinson at least 5 kills every match last year. And Robinson, that latest kill gives her a total of 4 in this matchup. Johnson. It's going to be a service ace for Northwestern. They're second now of the match. Lee with 1, and I'll give 1 to Sarah Johnson. Number 2 on the team last year at 28 service aces total. She's the top returnee. Tashima, the team setter. She's number 1 when it came to that service ace statistic. And now for the Coyotes, it's Taylor Wilson. 8-7 Northwestern. Across for Viscuso. 9-7 Northwestern. Getting Viscuso involved. I mentioned she's among the 4. Right now there are 4 that have been finishers for Northwestern, 4 for South Dakota with kills. Been Cannon, Gerback, Robinson, and Viscuso for the Wildcats. It's been Lotion, Jurgens, Wilson, and Dotseth for the Coyotes. Wagamester, McNulty. Into the net goes Viscuso. Check that with Gerback. Out for South Dakota's Fonseca. Jurgens. Right to Johnson. And the net goes Gerback. They're trying to go across court. Tough angle there, and will allow this stint beyond the service line to continue for Jurgens, who back in her high school days in Nebraska had a career total of 274 service aces. Class D1 Player of the Year her junior year. Wildcats back up 10-9. For Northwestern, ball in the hands of Nia Robinson. Robinson already hitting .333 with a dig. And we will have our first replay challenge here of this matchup. Well, that ball was tipped or not by a Coyote. As it stands right now, that is the call. And Here are the rules, the NCAA challenge system. Each coach, 3 challenges per match. Again, does not have any effect on the allotted timeouts. You see what's reviewable. The ball ruled in or out. Ball contacting the player, which is the case here. Net fault by a player, service, foot fault. The 3-meter attack line, foot fault. And do note as far as the Cloutzy Center goes in this Panther Invitational, a couple angles that the officials have the opportunity to look at, the same angles that you at home are watching. And so right now the question is, was the ball tipped or not by a Coyote? And that's what's being challenged here by head coach Leanne Williamson, the Heartland, Wisconsin native. Mentioned a Milwaukee Panther, so homecoming sword for the former Leanne Felsing, an outstanding athlete in her time with the Panthers from 2004 through 2007. Helped her team win 4 regular season titles in the 2006 Horizon League Tournament Championship. So 3 challenges per match, no effect on the allotted timeouts. Some conferences have had the replay system already, the challenge system already, but now across the board here in NCAA Women's College Volleyball. And watching the replay closely to see, again, from whatever angles, if they can find the clear-cut evidence as to whether or not it was tipped. But as it stands right now, the ruling is it was tipped. So the point to Northwestern, giving them this 10-9 lead. And so the challenge won here by South Dakota. It was not tipped. The point goes to the Coyotes, and so flip the score. The Coyotes now lead 10-9. So the first challenge of the day, won by Coach Williamson. And again, timeouts not affected. She has 2 more the rest of this matchup that she can turn to if need be. And still just trying to figure some things out over at the scorer's table. Everything checks out. Juergens, a service ace. Second ace of the matchup now for the Coyotes. Other belongs to Dotseth. Tolia Juergens, a machine when it came to service aces during her prep days. Now how does that translate to the collegiate game? We'll wait and see. Now with a service error. But played at a high level. A 2-time Class D1 All-Star, or All-State with a first-team honoree, and a 2-time Class D1 All-Tournament team selection was Juergens. Reaching back. You have Gerback on this near side. Johnson, Robinson with that angle into the net. Going to land that ball at the feet of Grathoff. Coyotes have the momentum right now. They lead 12-10. And South Dakota will bring Sauer in. Out goes Wagamester. Love these early season tournaments. A lot of teachable moments. Never stop learning, but especially early on, can only simulate game action in practice so much, or in scrimmage situations. Now out here at a matchup that means more than anything prior to. Every play a teachable moment, especially with a couple of rosters that are younger, very young. In the case of the Wildcats, they have 13 underclassmen, the most for a Big Ten team. Next most, 12 for Michigan State. Always learning, always trying to get better. Flies out here for South Dakota. Tied at 12. 6th tie here in this second set. 10th now in this matchup. Viscuso. Juergens. Dotseth. That was off the hands of Lindroth. quickly rotates Wilson back in for Grathoff. And Rasmussen, during her time with Wisconsin Lutheran High School, 4-year starter, all-time leader for the Vikings in digs. Also the single season record holder for the Vikings in digs. Walker had a block Johnson on the back pedal. Cannon, Walker, and company trying to finish it out, but it's Wilson on the finish. (14-12) South Dakota. Rasmussen. McNulty over by Gerback. Nice bounce back there for Gerback. After a couple of attacking errors, Michelle Lee's turn to serve for the 3rd time. We're now a serve specialist for the Wildcats, but listed as a libero. Look at the Wildcat roster. They have a total of 5 listed liberos. Of course, right now that job being handled by Sarah Johnson. Michelle Lee, steady, quick libero who comes from a great background according to head coach Shane Davis. That leads passing, but also defense are 2 things you want your libero to be great at, and she excels at both. But right now just trying to find time for her on the court, in this case in a serving capacity. I'd argue still, and coaches probably tell you the same thing, especially in these early season non-conference tournaments. No matter who is back, no matter how much experience or lack thereof you have, roles are still being defined. Yes, you've had a couple of weeks of practice. Yes, maybe you've had an exhibition or a scrimmage or both. But we talk about these teachable moments and so much learning going on as you're learning throughout the course of the season, but really, especially these first few weeks as you prepare for your conference slate, constantly looking to improve. Roles are still, again, being defined and redefined, solidified. Robinson, after the attacking error, Northwestern will take a timeout. South Dakota up 17-14 here at set 2 of the Panther Invitational. (17-14) South Dakota here in set number 2 after the Wildcats took the first set 25-16. Wildcats, who had 7 attacking errors in that first set, have 7 already in this second set alone. South Dakota's been on their game in this second set. They've cleaned some things up after 11 attacking errors in the first. They've only had 2 so far. Same amount of kills, 7 per set. Hitting right now 227 in this second set alone, but the Wildcats able to respond out of the timeout. That's what you hope to see if your head coach, in this case Shane Davis, team responding out of the timeout, and now looking to continue that response off the serve by Johnson. That was Wilson. Able to get the point right back for the Coyotes. And remember, one of the turning points in this second set that has been awfully close throughout, you had the challenge by Coach Williamson of a tip against the Coyotes. It got reversed. Therefore, instead of being down 10-9, the Coyotes up 10-9 and have been playing with the lead pretty much since. Wagamester on that return for South Dakota. Robinson out of the back. Nice touch there by Lolo Weideman, who's now into the Coyotes lineup for the first time. Robinson. That was off for Fonseca, and the point for Northwestern down 18-16. And now with Kiara McNulty, Wildcats back within 2 at 18-16. McNulty so far with a total of 21 assists. Her debut match as the team setter. Robinson's wind up, out of the back. You have Jurgens trying to find Wagamester. Double hit though to go against the Coyotes. McNulty. You have Jurgens helped over with the right hand, that by Grathoff back into the South Dakota lineup. Big wind up with Gerback. McNulty down the middle with Viscuso. Jurgens, Wagamester in front though. Viscuso, Gerback trying what they could to keep that ball from finding the Wildcat side, but it does. And the Coyotes with a 19-17 lead. Jurgens. Long run for McNulty. Flying out of the back. Kept alive by the Coyotes. Behind the back, Lotion going across. Finding Wagamester, and the point for South Dakota. That's going to force a timeout here, the second and final for Northwestern. South Dakota with a 20-17 lead here in set number 2 of the first match of the 20th running of the Panther Invitational. Wildcats looking to play a comeback. They're down 20-17 here in this second set after the first set. Went Northwestern's direction, but the Coyotes here in this second set still hitting 276. Only a couple of attacking errors. Now have a total of 5 players with kills. Wilson with 3, Jurgens has 2, Wagamester with 2, Dotseth with 2, Lotion with a kill of her own. Jurgens out of the back, Dotseth trying to get her back involved. Those kill totals, by the way, in this second set only. And Dotseth, who had 6 attacking errors in the first set, only 1 so far in this second set to go along with her 3 kills. Slam down in front. Score the point for Emily Grathoff. Make it 6 Coyotes now with a kill in this second set performance. And South Dakota leads 22-17. Gerback had that Wildcat return. Dotseth. McNulty. Gerback and Rasmussen trying to get her fist under the ball. Instead angled it late. Out of play. 4-point lead for the Coyotes. They've had the Wildcats scrambling here in this second set. 6 ties, 3 lead changes in this second set. Johnson, long return, makes it to Rasmussen. Jurgens in front ready for the Wildcats. Johnson, here's Cannon. Wildcats are within 3, 22-19. Trying to make this mini run to end things are the Wildcats. Coyotes want to finish what they've started. Wagemester tipped in front, score the point. Elizabeth Loshit. And the Coyotes will bring Sauer back in. Out of the back, Lindroth back there for Northwestern. The block coming through again for South Dakota. Grathoff. A matchup that has seen a total of 7 blocks now for the Coyotes. With a chance here to end this second set. Sauer. Did Grathoff and Dotseth on that last block. Cannon. Jurgens. Rasmussen. Johnson. Cannon. Jurgens outside. Lotion cross court. Cannon. Off Jurgens to keep the Wildcats alive at 24-20. T for Northwestern, Amy Wang for the first time. A 5'6" sophomore from California has rotated in. Rasmussen, Jurgens, and Grathoff ends the second set for South Dakota. The Coyotes take it 25-20, and this match is even at 1 set apiece. It now becomes the best of 3. Season opener for both there in 2018. It's Women's College Volleyball on the Black and Gold Network. All even at one set apiece. Match 1 of 6 over the next couple of days in the 2018 Panther Invitational here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. A 25-16 set 1 win for Northwestern, but South Dakota bouncing back in set 2 and prevailing 25-20. A matchup that has seen now a combined 10 ties and 6 lead changes. For South Dakota, 6 have kills led by 5 apiece for Haley Dotseth and Elizabeth Loshin. Big difference, set 1, South Dakota negative 103 hitting percentage. Set 2, an attack percentage of .316, only a couple of errors in that second set in 38 total attempts. 14 assists so far for Madison Juergens, total of 9 digs for Ann Rasmussen, and then 5 block assists for Emily Grathoff. As a whole, the Coyotes with a total of 7 blocks. Northwestern, they have seen a total of 5 with kills paced by 10 already for Cannon. Aubriana Cannon, her first collegiate matchup. 10 kills, 4 errors, 29 total attempts, a .207 hitting percentage, then 7 kills for Ella Gerbach, 23 assists for Kiara McNulty, and then a couple of players with a 10-plus dig performance thus far with Sarah Johnson at 12, and then McNulty with 11 for the double-double. As a whole, the Wildcats with a total of 3 blocks at 143 in that second set. That also was up after they hit 128 in set number 1. Now becomes the best of 3 in the season opening match for both programs. McNulty getting this third set started for Northwestern. Juergens look out for the sides in front. Outside, Wagamester getting the start here in this third set. Wildcats with a 1-0 lead. Reminder that over the next couple of days, all matches not involving host Milwaukee we stream live right here on the Black and Gold Network. All those matches, the 3 that are involving the Milwaukee Panthers, can be seen. Hope you'll join us on ESPN+. So coming up is Milwaukee and New Hampshire. An approximate start time of 12 noon. That will be seen over on ESPN+. Links and more at MKEPanthers.com. Rasmussen, Wagamester, back to Johnson, and the set goes to Viscuso. Grathoff on back to Johnson. The set by McNulty. Flying in your picture was Nia Robinson, but too much on her return. Coyotes will bring Sauer back in, replacing Wagamester. Lauren Sauer, of the All-Summit League freshman team in 2015. In the first couple of years, she was among the leaders in the conference in digs, helping out in the service aids department as well. Before again missing last season and taking the year off. But able to throw that back into the equation. And the Coyotes expected to have a great deal of success. They're predicted right now to finish in the top 4 among 9 in the Summit League. Loshin nearing the net for the Coyotes. And Northwestern here in this third set. What is a 4-1 lead. Robinson. Juergens. Over with Grathoff, but Northwestern able to keep the attack alive, and Viscuso finishes things off. And limited action for Viscuso last year with 10 matches played. One of her better performances came late October 25th in a matchup against Rutgers. 8 kills in a 3-set sweep. Tipped again in front by Viscuso. Starting to see the net play. Benefit Northwestern, and forcing South Dakota to call a timeout. A 6-1 response to start this third set for the Wildcats. That's Northwestern, a younger team under their third-year head coach, Shane Davis. For the Wildcats, they've had some top-ranked recruiting classes the last couple of years with Davis at the helm. But Northwestern, in the class of 2022, ranked 18th best by PrepVolleyball.com. They were young last year with 12-18, either first-year or second-year players. Again, no different this year with 13 of the 17 first or second year players, hoping that eventually that youth will grow, gain experience, and find a way to turn things around and change the culture at Northwestern volleyball. Team that's trying to win its 5th consecutive season opener, but again, they're also looking this season at the end of a stretch that has seen them record 3 consecutive losing seasons. Taking a step further, the Big Ten, known for volleyball. Big Ten, Pac-12, the 2 top collegiate conferences for women's college volleyball. And for the Wildcats, they've not had a winning Big Ten season since 1988. Last time they finished at 500 in conference play, 2005. So it's been a while. Northwestern expected to take their lumps again this year with the young roster. They're hoping these non-conference tournaments will, nothing else, get help, figure out who's going to be playing where, maybe gain some confidence, and then they might be able to surprise some in Big Ten play. But right now in the Big Ten, you have 8 teams out of the 14 either ranked in the preseason poll that the AVCA puts out or receiving votes in the AVCA preseason poll. The Pac-12, by the way, has 9 schools that are either in the top 25 or receiving votes. 7-1 now, Northwestern. Robinson. Jurgens. Dotseth. We'll get her more involved. As Dotseth now with a total of 6 kills, 7 errors. 6 of those errors came in set 1. Rasmussen on the set by McNulty. Another return for the far side with Gerback. Wildcats watch a long Coyotes return. I remember too, at one point for Northwestern last year, they went 10-2 in non-conference play. 10-2. 1.19 consecutive. They were 10-1. 4-17 the rest of the way. 8-3 Northwestern. The Coyotes on the side out. South Dakota will sub in Mehana Fonseca. Her second year with the Coyotes after she began her collegiate career at Central Oklahoma in 2016. Nels Cannon. Dotseth. That works for the Coyotes. Dotseth and Rasmussen figure to be the players to watch for South Dakota this year. They certainly have the majority of the experience on this roster. But Dotseth, when it comes to kills, Rasmussen on the defensive side was tops on the team in digs at 5.4 last year. Score that point for Fonseca. The service ace now being the third of the matchup for the Coyotes. Add another. They're back to within 2. Fonseca. Assists, digs. More of her specialties last year. But also added 14 service aces in her first go-around with the Coyotes. Northwestern gets a much-needed set out to get back up 3 with Michelle Lee back in. Out goes Gerback. Michelle Lee, mentored by former Northwestern libero and Julie Chin, who was a graduate in 2012. We'll see a net violation whistle against the Coyotes. So South Dakota was able to battle back to within a couple. Now watching the Wildcats build that lead back to 4 at 10-6. So far a third set. No ties nor lead changes. It's been a set that has belonged to the Wildcats from the beginning. At one point up 7-1. Right now Northwestern hitting about 163 for the match, but 364 in this set alone. South Dakota back to negative 111. The finish for Alana Walker. Walker last year at 297. When she was on the attack, had a great deal of success in finishing. Walker, that hitting percentage the highest by a first-year player in program history. On top of her blocking ability, you see the windup for Walker. As many as 11 kills against UNC Wilmington last fall. 4 straight for Northwestern. Up 12-6. Jurgens. Dotseth. That's off Cannon. Coming across to McNulty, finding Cannon. Rasmussen on the dig. Dotseth. Knocked back. Dotseth again. A little more oomph in the return. McNulty finds Cannon. Over the left shoulder and Rasmussen. 5 straight now for Northwestern. And a 7-point Wildcat lead. The all-important third set. Knocked out by Allie Lindroth. Taylor Wilson, the South Dakota windup. And a substitution will bring Wagamester back in for the Coyotes. Dotseth. And the staple of the program the past 3 years. And for the Coyotes, Cannon could have a double hit against Kiara McNulty. Coach Davis, talking about McNulty, said that she is a real go-getter, a tremendous ambassador for her community, and those qualities now carrying over onto the volleyball court. As Cannon set up for Wagamester. Johnson across for Cannon. Rasmussen able to dig it out. The set by Jurgens. Off balance. Wagamester going cross court and out of the reach of Cannon. Let's talk Wagamester for a minute. The freshman at 6 foot from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, coming off a high school career, which was a 3-year varsity letter winner. Her team won a conference championship in 2016. She was named to the Iowa Volleyball Coaches Association All-Star team, and then at the club level, helped her team qualify twice for the USA Volleyball Nationals, the Open and National divisions. Well, she has the Coyotes on a 3-0 run. They're back to within 4 at 13-9. I mentioned the Wildcats. This is a team that they're looking to bounce back. 3 straight losing seasons. The Coyotes, under the leadership of Coach Williamson, they've had winning seasons now in 4 of the last 5, and they've been able to turn some things around. Their next win, at least for the program, will be the 500th win in the program's existence, going back in 1974. And Coach Williamson was an assistant from 2009 through 2013 with the Coyotes and helping the program make that transition. They were a Division II team, went independent in 2008, D1 in 2009. They were part of the Great West Conference before they made the move to the Summit League in 2011. That's a league that's been dominated by Denver as of late. And Denver finishing first over Oral Roberts during the regular season last year. Would go on to Denver, and they would beat Oral Roberts for the tournament championship. And again, Denver has won 4 straight tournament titles and a piece of 4 consecutive regular season titles. But now you throw North Dakota in the mix. North Dakota coming out of the Big Sky Conference North Division, where they won a title last year and also have won tournament titles in back-to-back years. Jurgens with Wilson. Lee on the hustle. Cannon on the windup. Fonseca. That was Wagamester. Wagamester over Walker. Out of the reach of Lee and at the feet of Johnson. (13-10) Northwestern will make it now 4 consecutive for South Dakota. Starting to improve on that hitting percentage. They're now out of the negative. Walker into the net. Jumped a little too soon and got above the ball and trying to recover and came down on top of that ball. Dotseth for the all-freshman team in 2015. Dotseth, part of the All-Summit League team last season, was all-tournament team and tournaments in Hawaii and in Colorado, where South Dakota got their season started. They had tournaments in Wyoming, Honolulu, Hawaii, Kansas City, Missouri, and Colorado. Cannon. Jurgen got enough of it. Not allowing Wilson to return it. Robinson. And out of the front, sent long by Wagamester. See from that angle by Sarah Johnson. Back-to-back Wildcat points, lead back to 4 at 15-11. Jurgens gave way. Taylor Wilson, the finish. Brianna Cannon on the northwestern side of things. South Dakota down 15-12. For the Coyotes, they've been able to score. Now 6 of the last 8 points in this set to get right back in to this third set after being down 7-1 once upon a time. Wilson to Johnson. Robinson. Good see Dotseth unhappy with herself. Dotseth with 17 double-doubles last year. Has 7 kills, 1 assist, a service, 7 digs, and a block in this season opening match. Dotseth. Wagamester, long. Wildcats up 17-12. Johnson. Jurgens with the left hand, right to Johnson. McNulty to Robinson. That was dug up by Dotseth, who's playing in the back row. McNulty this time goes right side. Boy, that combo. Viscuso and McNulty right now. Robinson on back with Dotseth. Jurgens, Wagamester, Lee, McNulty across to Robinson. That went long. That split both Dotseth and Rasmussen. Haven't talked a ton about Lotion lately, but she'll sub back in, replacing Fonseca. Lotion right now number 3 on the team with 5 kills. Added 4 blocks. Team has 7 as a whole. Robinson gave way. Cannon on the finish. Brianna Cannon with a total of 12 kills, hitting .216 right now. Added a couple of digs and a couple of blocks. McNulty using the left hand at Jurgens. Lotion coming across, off McNulty. Johnson, that was tapped over by Gerbach. Johnson, going to be a double hit against McNulty. Errors right now. And check that, Johnson with that ball handling error. There have been a total of 18 in the match for the Wildcats, 3 in this set. South Dakota with 19 errors, 6 this third set alone. Kill for Robinson. That's her 8th. G2 getting back into rhythm. She's had 7 errors go against. But it's had 25 total attempts. Cannon, Gerbach, Robinson all with 25 total attempts or more each. McNulty, missed time jump, and it flies over the hand of Viscuso. Out for the Coyotes goes Grathoff and Rasmussen. Lone Wisconsinite on the South Dakota roster, despite some of the ties that Coach Williamson has to the area. Cannon. Again. Rasmussen will send it into the stands. It is 20-15. Wildcats up 5. And Northwestern will bring Amy Wang back in. She got an appearance late in that second set. Sophomore was born in Beijing, China. Played the violin for 8 years. Off the top tape. Played 24 matches last year, first year at the Wildcats. Coyotes have Fonseca back out. Fonseca, with a couple of the team's 4 service aces. Came on back-to-back serves. Cannon. (21-16) Northwestern. Michelle Lee. Mad dash for Juergens, and nearly going head over heels over the scorer's table, the stat table. Fonseca. And a timeout here for South Dakota. 22-16 Northwestern. We're in set number 3. It's match 1 of the Panther Invitational. (22-16) Northwestern here in set number 3. An important third set as this match you see even at 1 set apiece. Nice bounce back for the Coyotes in set number 2, able to limit the errors. Not a single block so far in this third set, a set that has seen Taylor Wilson contribute 3 kills for the Coyotes, 4 for Cannon, 3 for Robinson, 3 for Walker. McNulty already with 10 assists in this set alone. Dot Seth. It stays in. That's her 3rd kill this set. Fonseca's added 5 digs. Then 6 digs for Sarah Johnson, the Northwestern libero. Some of the totals so far in this set alone. A set that, again, has seen 6 errors for the Coyotes, 4 for the Wildcats. Dot Seth. With Lee now in that back row. Walker on the finish. Walker, who's emerged with 4 kills now in this set by itself. Watching teammate Robinson join her in that front row, along with Kiara McNulty. Cannon. Juergens coming out. Taylor Wilson off that setup, coming out of the back and delivering the finish and keeping the Coyotes within 5. And the first all-time meeting between these two programs, South Dakota coming in with a record of 1-5 against Big Ten competition. One victory came last year in Kansas City, Missouri when they knocked off Rutgers 3-1. Robinson, back up from McNulty. Johnson, back to Robinson. Dot Seth. Juergens. Over the block, you have Christina Susak in line for the first time for the Coyotes. Susak, a 5'10" senior outside hitter from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Started 15 of 28 matches last year. Kills and digs her specialty. Said it's the majority of the duration of her sophomore year in 2016 did at Susac. Net violation against the Wildcats, and all of a sudden the Coyotes are within 3, forcing a Northwestern timeout. 23-20, Wildcats lead it. So far, again, this third set, no ties, no lead changes. Has been the Wildcats in the driver's seat, but the Coyotes not going away. And again, when they have been able to limit the errors, they have found a way to hang tough with Northwestern. Right now, 3 straight for the Coyotes. Hitting 143 for the match. Northwestern hitting 263 in this set, 176 for the match. But South Dakota make it 116 for the match, 143 for the set. On the Coyotes end, and a near flawless second set. Get some great contributions though from Wilson and Dotseth. No surprise there, Lotion. But Juergens, great debut in that center role with a total of 24, replacing Brittany Jessen, who was the Summit League Center of the Year 2 separate times. South Dakota's all-time assist leader with 4,826 helpers, 4th most in Summit League history. One of 3 key components lost from last year's 17-win team, and that team last year started off 0-2, 1-4 before they were able to bounce back and again find themselves in the top 3 as they have been for the last 5 years in the Summit League. Of Lolo Weideman. That's Walker. Northwestern serving for set number 3. Taylor Wilson back in for the Coyotes. Sarah Johnson. Off the top tape. Dotseth got enough of it, keeping the rally alive. Coming across, Viscuso. McNulty. Viscuso. Ending set number 3 for the Wildcats. They take it 25-20. They go up 2 sets to 1. Must win now for South Dakota. Set 4 here in Milwaukee. Coming away next on the Black and Gold Network. Not a single block in set number 3, but Northwestern did produce their best attack percentage of any one set so far in this match. At 293 en route to a 25-20 set victory to go up 2-1 now in this best of 5 against the South Dakota Coyotes out of the Summit League. Northwestern, Cannon with a total of 14 kills, 36 assists now for McNulty. 3 in double figures in digs, led by 18 for Johnson, 12 for McNulty, 12 for Lee. So McNulty with the double-double. For South Dakota, 8 kills lead the way for both Wilson and Dotseth. 24 assists for Jurgens, and then a couple of 10-plus dig performances so far for Rasmussen, who has 13 and 11. That for Dotseth, working on a double-double. Mentioned she had 17 of those last year. A year in which she was tops in the team in kills, added digs, service aces, assists. He has 23 kills in the match last year against Oral Roberts on October the 3rd. Must win here for the Coyotes. Northwestern, a lot of success in finishing matches when they found themselves up 2-1 last year. Cannon giving the Wildcats a 1-0 lead, but last year Northwestern 3-1 when they're up 2-1 in set 4. South Dakota looking to force a 5th set. They had 7 5-setters last year among the, again, 28 matches they were involved in. McNulty, Cannon, and the point here for the Wildcats. That gets by Dotseth along with Fonseca on the back row. And Northwestern, who led throughout from start to finish in set number 3, has a 2-0 lead here in the 4th set. Jurgens, Dotseth. McNulty finding Cannon. Cannon's been playing awfully well here this morning. 14 kills, 4 errors, 40 total attempts, a .250 hitting percentage. She's played at a high level, winning a couple of state championships at the high school level, bringing that winning pedigree. 2017 Gatorade Player of the Year finalist, a Michigan Miss Volleyball finalist. Dotseth out of bounds. That's the 4th service error to go along with 4 service aces for the South Dakota serve. Michelle Lee back in. Jurgens. Taylor Wilson has emerged as this match has gone along too for the Coyotes. That's her 9th kill. In the 3rd set alone, she was able to come through with 4 kills, 6 total attempts. Johnson can't get there. Had a piece, but not much flight. And a service ace recorded for Taylor Wilson. Service ace number 5 for South Dakota. It's the 1st for Wilson. Wilson will be a key component to the team's success this season, being one of the 4 seasons. Yeah, it's only her 2nd year with the Coyotes, but still that collision experience providing here for South Dakota. Tapped just enough to make a difference for Grathoff. Haven't mentioned her name a lot lately after the kind of start she was able to produce. But that's the 1st block for either side since set number 2. She's been a part of 6 of the 8 South Dakota blocks. 4-4 our score. Robinson back in, replacing Lindroth in the Northwestern lineup. Wildcats will have Aubriana Cannon serving. Coach Davis said she has a ton of range. Fantastic ball control. That for Cannon. Heck of a windup too. Robinson on the windup. Blocked in front by Grathoff. A total of 251 blocks in her 4-year high school career. Grathoff now with a piece of 7 of the team's 9 blocks in this matchup. Coyotes up 5-4. Jurgens. Walker. In the third set, Walker, 5 kills, 1 error, 7 total attempts at 571. That set alone. She has 6 kills, make it 7 now, hitting over 300, making now 400 on the dot at this point. A service error. That's the 4th for the Wildcats. As South Dakota will sub Sauer in. Talk about these teachable moments right now is Wagamester talking there with Coach Williamson. Wagamester, one of those freshmen making the transition. Dot Seth saying it was tipped. One official says it was tipped. The other says, See if they challenge that or not, but now the officials will come together and converse. And they will, in fact, change the call and say it was tipped by Wildcats, so the point goes to the Coyotes. But one challenge so far in this matchup. It went South Dakota's direction. They had challenged whether they had tipped the ball or not. The call got reversed. The score reversed. And the Coyotes were able to feed off that momentum. That was back in set 2. They were down, they thought 10-9 with that call change. They went up 10-9 and really never looked back in route towards a 25-20 victory. Johnson. Outstanding hustle by McNulty. And a timeout here for Northwestern. That's because South Dakota, 3 straight, they go 8-5, 8-5 South Dakota. We're in set number 4 in Milwaukee. South Dakota has scored the last 3 points, go up 8-5. Must win for them here in set 4, down 2-1. 3 ties in the lead change here in the 4th set. And again, much like set 2, one of the big stories for the Coyotes in their success. Again, 8-5 is our score. 8-5 in favor of South Dakota. But again, one of the big stories right now is not a single attacking error against the Coyotes in this 4th set. They had another. The Coyotes now lead 9-5. 4 straight for the Coyotes. Hitting .429 in this set. First touch from Sauer, and that's going to fly over the Coyotes bench. Northwestern with 3 errors going into that timeout. Off 9 total attempts, hitting 111 in this 4th set, trying to close things out. We're talking about a young team that, you know, can say that across the board in this tournament, with the exception of maybe New Hampshire. We'll see coming up next against Milwaukee. They have a lot of experience, a lot of excitement surrounding that program coming into this new season. Robinson over the reach of Sauer. But referencing growing pains, you know, one of the areas that certainly these younger teams will have to learn is how to go about closing out matchups. Right now for Northwestern, their first opportunity, their first go-around, an opportunity here now to see if they can't close out South Dakota. They get the service ace. Do the Wildcats get back to within 1? Kiara McNulty on the ace. That's number 5 in the matchup for the Wildcats. The first for McNulty. 9-8 Coyotes. Jump serve by McNulty right to Rasmussen. Jurgens able to set up Elizabeth Loshin. (10-8) South Dakota. We're going to keep it going. Continuing to be error-free in this 4th set. McNulty over to Robinson, off the block. The combo with Dotseth and Wilson. Over again with Gerback. Dotseth over that to Johnson, out of bounds. Might have been tipped though. That's the call. At least one official said it was tipped. The official on the ladder will overrule, and it appears will be a side out and a point here for the Wildcats, who trail 10-9. That got up on Sauer. That for Robinson. 10-10 now our score here in set 4. So it's going to be 10-10. Nia Robinson. Going across the way again at Dotseth. Gets the feed from Rasmussen, but into the block of Gerback. Got some help from Viscuso. Gerback, the daughter of Elvis Gerback, played football at University of Michigan and in the NFL, won a Super Bowl with the San Francisco 49ers and was named to the 2000 Pro Bowl. Elvis in the house here today. Dotseth. Cannon. Jurgens with Wilson, and the point for South Dakota. And the run of 3 straight for Northwestern. Score now 11-all. So make it 5 ties. Couple of lead changes in this 4th set alone. This match now has seen a total of 15 ties. And 10 of those came in the first 2, not a single tie in set 3. The kill for Gerback. Northwestern back up 12-11, trying to close out this matchup. South Dakota trying to force a winner takes all. 5th set. Open up the 20th run of the Panther Invitational. First of 3 matchups this weekend for these 2 programs. Dotseth. McNulty over with Cannon. Dug out by Sauer. Jurgens to Dotseth. That's almost dug out by Viscuso. Cannon. Double hit against the Wildcats. And both of these teams will still be in action later on today. At 5 o'clock Central Time will be a matchup between New Hampshire and Northwestern that can be seen here on the Black and Gold Network. And then Milwaukee takes on South Dakota at 7:30, approximately 7:30 Central Time over on ESPN+. 13-12 Coyotes. Haley Dotseth. To Johnson. McNulty to Cannon. Rasmussen slammed over again by Cannon. But no, a net violation instead against Northwestern will take away that kill for Cannon. 14-12, South Dakota up a couple here in this 4th set. Dotseth will continue a couple of calls. One that went in Northwestern's favor, that not so much. Cannon by Dotseth. It flew out before she could make contact. So now it's 15-12, South Dakota, and a timeout being taken as the Wildcats down by 3 here in this Fourth set, 4 straight now scored by the Coyotes. We'll continue with set 4 actions. We continue here in Milwaukee on the Black and Gold Network. South Dakota trying to force a decisive 5th set. They've scored the last 4 here in this 4th set to lead 15-12. Taylor Wilson's really come on. She only had 1 kill the entire 1st set. She now has a total of 10 for the matchup among 2 players in this entire matchup in double figures for kills. Cannon on the other side of the net has a total of 16 to lead Northwestern, along with her 3 digs and a couple of blocks. South Dakota also has 10 blocks now for the match, 3 in this set alone, to lead 15-12. Wagemester, you see with Juergens in that front row with the aforementioned Taylor Wilson. Haley Dotseth will serve. We come to you from the Klotchie Center in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's match 1 of the Panther Rotational service ace out of the timeout for Dotseth. Second ace of the set, 6 now for the match for the Coyotes, who have now scored 5 straight and lead 16-12. Johnson, McNulty, Cannon. Was knocked back by Juergens. Wagemester with Johnson. Gerback into the block. The combo, Wagemester, Wilson. Now Wilson also bringing that winning pedigree, not only from, going back to her Stony Brook days before that when she was in high school, Our Lady of Providence in Indiana. They won back-to-back Indiana State championships. Wilson led the team in blocks and kills all 4 years. That's Wilson knocking it back to Rasmussen. McNulty and Gerback on the kill. Ends a 6-0 South Dakota run. 17-13 Coyotes. Michelle Lee serving. Off the top tape, the service ace, and Lee with her 3rd service ace of the morning. 7th now for the Wildcats as a whole. Their 3rd in this set alone. Wagemester, Johnson, McNulty finding Cannon. Across court, Rasmussen. Dotseth, Wagemester lifts it over the block. Cannon winds up. Good piece there for Fonseca. The windup with Wagemester gets the job done, and South Dakota leads 18-14. So Wagemester, off that finish, records her 5th kill. Right now there are 4 with 5 kills or more for South Dakota. What's been more of a balanced attack. 8 players with at least 1 kill apiece. Northwestern with a total of 5 that have recorded kills, all with 7 or greater. Gerback is the 2nd Wildcat in double figures with a total of 10 kills, joining Cannon's 16. Already a 44 assist performance along with 15 digs for McNulty. Weideman back in. Lola Weideman. Seen some time here as this matchup's gone along. Walker helping keep that ball on the South Dakota side of the net. It's been the 3rd set that Weideman's appeared in. 18-15 Coyotes. Coming up next is Milwaukee against New Hampshire. That was expected to start at about 12 noon. It will be delayed a little bit. You can see that over on ESPN+. Right now, Coach Williamson talking with Haley Dotseth, trying to communicate with the official about the latest call that benefits Northwestern. The attacking error that's credited to Grathoff off a block that's credited to Walker. Walker's at a piece of 2 out of the team's 5 blocks. They've had 2 in this set alone. (18-15). The Coyotes have a 3-point lead. Can they hang on? Will the Wildcats play comeback and end this match? Aubriana Cannon. A lot of bright spots so far for both of these teams, and match 1 of the season. A lot of youth on display. Robinson to Rasmussen. Johnson, McNulty, back to Robinson, dug out by Rasmussen, pushed over by Wegemeister. It's going to be Robinson, long on the return. Wegemeister involved in an attack for the Coyotes, and then a long return. An outside involving Nia Robinson. And now apparently Northwestern challenging that latest call. Again, here are the NCAA challenge system reviewable plays. Right now they're challenging that ball was tipped by a Coyote. So they're hoping that this point will sway their direction and make it 18-16 versus a 19-15 deficit. But reviewable are the balls that are ruled in or out. A ball contacting the player, which has been the case in the 2 reviews now we've had in this matchup. Net fault by player. You have the service foot fault and a 3-meter attack line foot fault are the areas that can be reviewed. Each team with 3 challenges. They do not affect either way any of the timeouts allotted. And each team now has used 1 challenge. So each team now with 2 challenges remaining. The last reviewable challenge benefited South Dakota. They thought, or the call was that South Dakota tipped the ball. Upon replay, it was not. Now it's Northwestern trying to say that South Dakota tipped this latest attack. As it sits right now, it was not tipped by a Coyote, and the point benefiting South Dakota. And again, the angles that the officials have to work with, the 2 that you have seen, from the sideline, from the end line, and the call stands. So off the challenge, the call stands. 19-15 South Dakota. Coyotes bring Lotion back in. 19-15 South Dakota. Jurgens to Johnson. McNulty to Robinson. Wildcats stay within 3 at 19-16. Look at Cannon with Lee. Lee's been effective beyond the service line. Cannon's been strong on the attack. Now 1 of 3 Wildcats in double figures and kills. Robinson is added her 10th. The finish for Viscuso. That's her 8th kill. And now a timeout for the Coyotes. Their lead down to 2. It's 19-17. Must-win time for South Dakota. We're in set number 4. And a reminder coming up next, matchup between the Milwaukee Panthers and the New Hampshire Wildcats. Those expected to get underway around 12 noon. That's obviously going to be delayed with the conclusion of this one. That can be seen over on ESPN+. We're back here on the Black and Gold Network coming up at approximately 5 p.m. Central Time tonight for New Hampshire against Northwestern, Battle of the Wildcats. Nightcap here on day 1 of the Panther Invitational comes your way at approximately 7:30. Again, back over on ESPN+. Milwaukee against South Dakota. So a matchup there for Coach Williamson against her former team. Panthers, much like both of these programs, very young. In fact, they'll be, if not the youngest, one of the youngest teams in the Horizon League. New Hampshire, one of the exceptions of the 4 teams here in Milwaukee this weekend, as the New Hampshire Wildcats bring back their top 4 kill getters, both of their setters, top 7 servers, top 2 diggers, top 5 blockers. They bring back 14 of 16 who played last year on a team that went 13-14 out of the America East Conference. Out of the timeout, Sarah Johnson. Out of the back with Dotseth. Jurgens with Lotion. Cannon, McNulty, Robinson, and the Wildcats down 1. (19-18) South Dakota. 3 straight for the Wildcats. Jurgens, Lotion, Lee on this near side. Robinson over the block. On the backup, you have Susak back into the Coyotes lineup. Down the middle with Grathoff. Robinson. Nice save by Rasmussen, but unable to fish out of that. Susak. Susak is playing her second set of this match. But now tied at 19. 19-19, it's the 7th tie. Along with 3 lead changes here in set 4. 4 straight for the Wildcats. Johnson. And over comes Jurgens. Dotseth to Johnson. McNulty to Robinson, off balance. Got enough of it. Grathoff going back. Dotseth off balance. Finds Johnson. McNulty. And the lineup with Viscuso. Jurgens with Wagameister. Down the middle again with Viscuso. As the Coyotes trying to get Wagameister involved, but it's a finish here involving Viscuso, and it's a 5-0 Northwestern run. They lead 20-19. What a response out of their timeout. This was a 4th set that at one point, watching South Dakota lead 18-14, 19-15. But since it's been a kill by Robinson, a kill by Viscuso, back-to-back kills by Robinson out of the South Dakota timeout, and a kill again by Viscuso that have aided into this 5-0 run. So Robinson with 3 of the kills, Viscuso with the other 2 on this 5-0 run that has Northwestern up 20-19. Cannon, Robinson, Gerback, each with 10+ kills, 47 assists for McNulty. 21 digs for Sarah Johnson. 16 for Lee, 15 for McNulty. Coyotes, 10 kills from Wilson, followed by the 30 assists for Jurgens. They have 4 in double figures in digs. 19 for Rasmussen, 12 for Sauer, 12 for Dotseth, 11 for Fonseca. Wildcats lead 20-19. They're up 2-1 here in this best of 5. Johnson. Return Dotseth, but out of bounds. 6-0 Wildcat run. 21-19 Northwestern. Sarah Johnson stays in. It just did tuck into the corner. So a service ace here for Sarah Johnson. And Northwestern will challenge the call. So that's going to be reviewed here, whether it was inbound or not. As it sits right now, it's a service ace for Johnson. As it sits right now, a 7-0 Northwestern run. If it holds up, it would be the 9th Northwestern service ace, their 5th of the set. That right now is under review. It is 22-19 right now, call withstanding in favor of the Wildcats. We'll hit 176 for the match. South Dakota at 113. Got some impressive totals so far. Not even completely 4 set in this opener of the Panther Invitational. And they will, in fact, upon the review, call will stand, and a service ace for Johnson. Her 3rd service ace of the match. 7-0 Wildcat run. They're at 22-19. Rasmussen, Jurgens, Loshin. Second effort in front with Viscuso. Loshin, Lee batting it down off Robinson. Much needed point here for the Coyotes. 22-20 Northwestern. Lauren Sauer. Lee, McNulty, Robinson, perfectly placed. And a perfectly timed jump for Nia Robinson. 13 kills now for Robinson. 7-1 Northwestern run to lead 23-20. Robinson, 5 kills in the set. Loshin going cross court but out of bounds, and the Wildcats are serving for the set and the match. Coming on strong here down the stretch. Kiara McNulty. Jurgens. Dot set. Into the block. The combo of Viscuso and Gerback. And Northwestern taking set number 4, 25-20 by scoring 9 of the last 10 points. They take the match 3-1. They win their season opener for a 5th consecutive year. 25-16, 20-25, 25-20, and 25-20. Northwestern over South Dakota open up the 20th running of the Panther Invitational as the Wildcats go to 1-0 behind a 3 10-plus kill performances for Cannon with 16, Robinson with 13, Gerback with 10. South Dakota falls to 0-1 behind 10 kills from Wilson and a 30-assist performance for Jurgens. Note the Wildcats got 49 assists from McNulty. Again, these two teams will both be in action later on today with Northwestern facing New Hampshire at 5 p.m. Central Time here on the Black and Gold Network. South Dakota at 7:30 p.m. on ESPN Plus against Milwaukee. Flip over to ESPN Plus now, coming up in about a half hour from right now. Match number 2 as Milwaukee takes on New Hampshire. That's on ESPN Plus, coming up in approximately 30 minutes. That'll do it for now from the Clocher Center in Milwaukee. For our entire crew, Matt Middle saying so long. Again, Northwestern over South Dakota, 3-1. You're tuning in to day 1 coverage of the Panther Invitational on the Black and Gold Network.